Welcome to lesson 144 of algebraic concepts, multiply rational expressions. So here's our objective, here's our vocabulary, here's what a rational expression looks like. Okay, so today we're going to multiply, and I please urge you to pause through the objective, the vocabulary, and rules notes / pictures to get an understanding of what we're doing today. So if this is your first video in this series, please go back to lesson 2142, which starts off this series with rational expressions. The series before that, I factored trinomials and did all kinds of factoring, or factoring polynomials, focusing on trinomials. So please go back and watch some of those things. All right, so when you see something like this, what you need to remember about fractions is that tops multiply tops and bottoms multiply bottoms. So I am going to treat this one elementarily. So I'm going to take 6a, I'm going to times a times b. So 6 times a times b. And remember, when we multiply, things go in alphabetical order. So I'm just going to multiply every factor out to show it so you know how to cancel. So obviously the b and the b cancels out. And then 6 divided by 3 becomes 2. So you're left with 2a squared over c. And we were supposed to simplify these, and I did not write that on the instructions. Okay, again, so when you have a whole number, remember, all whole numbers or terms can be put over 1 because anything divided by 1 is itself. So let's multiply. Let's do the numbers first. Negative 8 times 5. Then you go in alphabetical order. T, U, V, W. All right, so W times X times Y times Z. This is the top divvied out. Okay, so 2 times X times Y times Y. So Y squared is Y times Y. And so now we see we can cancel out, do this in red, we can cancel out an X and a Y. And 2 divided by 8 becomes 4. So negative 4 times 5 becomes negative 20 WZ over Y. And that is simplified. Okay, again. So 5 times 6 times 7 times M times M times N all over 3 times 10 times M times N. All right, so N cancels out and M cancels out. 5 times 6 is 30. 3 times 10 is 30. So we can cross both of those out, and we're left with 7M simplified. So those were our examples. Please work on the practice problems, and I will see you at the end of the video for a recap. Okay, so let's multiply these. Well, the first thing we're going to do is factor, because I'm going to show you how these work out. Look at this. So you got h squared plus 9 is a difference of squares, because 9 is a perfect square. So this becomes h plus 3 over h minus 3 times 5h all over 10 times h plus 3 times h plus 3. So if you see in the second one here, I took out h, I factored out h. Now I got two h plus 3 terms. So what I'm going to do is factor. I'm going to move things around, because we know that we can move factors around and it does not change our answer. So that's one thing about multiplication. There's a property, I went over that in numbers and operations, and we can see our h plus 3 cancels out, our h cancels out, and 5 over 10 is 1/2. So we got h minus 3 all over 2 times h minus 3. You can leave it like this, or you can go ahead and put the 2 back in and leave it like this. And these are h's. They may look like n's, but they're h's. So on a standardized test, which one are you most likely to see? This is the proper simplified form, but you may see this on a standardized test or some kind of multiple choice test. So be aware. If you get an answer and it looks different than what's on the test, you might have to do a little bit more math. You might have to recombine terms or distribute or do something minor. So don't feel like you got the wrong answer if it does not look like in the form. You just might have to do a little bit more math. Okay, so we had to do a lot of factoring here. Look at this. This minus lets me know, it gives me a hint that I probably have a difference of squares. The square root of 1 is 1. The square root of a squared is a. So that's factorable. But don't forget, this goes over 1. So that you keep your fractions. Tops multiply tops and bottoms multiply bottoms. So a squared minus 1 is a difference of squares. So that breaks down into a plus 1 over a minus 1. And then if we factor a 2 out of this grouping, we get a 2a minus 7. Okay, so now the top is completely factored. Now we have a cubed, a squared, and a. So if we factor out an a, we get a squared minus 6a minus 7. Now this looks like a quadratic trinomial, which we can factor. I'm going to just factor the bottom over here. A squared minus 6a minus 7. Let's see, the factors of 7 are 7 and 1. So that's going to break down to a minus 7, a plus 1. And how do I know that? Negative 7a. Negative 7 times a is the inners. A times 1 is the outers. Negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6. Okay, so that works. So now I'm rewriting this one down here. So 2a plus 1, a minus 1, a minus 7, all over a times a plus 1, a minus 7. Okay, do we have anything that can cancel out? Well, yes, we do. A plus 1 divided by a plus 1 cancels out, and a minus 7 divided by a minus 7 cancels out. And then so you get 2 over a minus 1, 2 times the quantity a minus 1, all over a. So this is the most common form you may see on a standardized test. But do not be fooled. You may see this. So just keep your eyes open. And if you get the first answer and it doesn't look like any of the answers on the multiple choice test that you receive, just go ahead and distribute. Or, in this case, we distribute it, but there may be something else for you to do. So just keep your eyes open, and don't feel bad if you got a wrong answer. Just keep trying things. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of factoring here. So out of this one, we're going to be able to take a K. We're going to take a 4 out of this one. This polynomial is factorable, and this polynomial is factorable. So let's start here. K times 12. Well, we're going to take up. Let me not do that. I'm going to erase. I'm going to start over. Because watch what I do. And before, in the last video, I took negatives out. So I'm going to take a negative K out. And that will give me positive K minus 12. So I took a negative out, and then I rearranged things. And then if I take a 4 out, I get 7K plus 1. Now, the funny thing about factoring is this will give me a hint of how to factor the top trinomial. And why is that? Because things are supposed to cancel out. Okay, so let me try 7K plus 1, and then K plus 2. All right, so the outers, 14K plus 1K make 15K. 7 times 2 is 14, 15K. The last make 2, 7K. All right, that works. And then what are the factors of 12 to add to 4? 6 and 2. So we get K minus 6, K plus 2. Okay, so let's see. Do we have any things that can cancel out? Well, K plus 2 and K plus 2 cancel out. 7K plus 1 and 7K plus 1 cancel out. So what are we left with? Negative K over K minus 12 times the quantity K minus 12, and 4 all over 4 times the quantity K minus 6. So this is the most standard simplified answer, but you may see this. Negative K squared minus 12, or plus 12, all over 4K. Sorry for my handwriting here. Let's rewrite it. 4K minus 24. And if I rewrite this, 12 minus K squared all over 4K minus 24. This is the most incorrect form because when you write polynomials or rational expressions or anything of the sort, you always want your letters to go first. So that last one is not in standard form. But I'm just showing you can always move things around. So there you go. And that concludes this lesson for this topic, multiplying rational expressions. The next lesson up is dividing rational expressions. And if I went a little too fast or did a little too much, please watch some earlier videos in this series. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.